Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey. Hey.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a minute late. You know how I like to be on time.
Yes.
Let me find, I have it up. Let me see. Well, welcome to Center Hill Neighborhood Association meeting in October. We have one more meeting before the end of the year. And you gotta sign out of this. And we take a break. We take a break because we've been going long and hard for the whole year, and we give ourselves a month to kind of recoup, spend time with the family, all that good stuff. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Where is the okay, there it is. All right, can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay, because the screen, can you see your faces on my screen too, or you don't see that?
No, we see your
Oh,
face.
You just see my face. Okay.
Yes.
I can't see yours, so I need you all to be audible. And I'm just gonna look and see who's all here. If possible, if everyone could come on screen, that would be great. It just, we're neighbors and we like to see each other faces and just makes it some kind of way. Dustin Hillis, you're upside down.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix that. That's a glitch that I've had to fix every meeting. So I'll be right set up in a minute.
All right, so tonight's agenda, we're going to call to order acceptance of agenda. We'll have share the purpose statements, approval of the minutes, and then we present special guests present during this time, any city of Atlanta or Fulton County elected officials, other guests that we have here. And after that, I'll give my president's report, which I'm really excited to share. I put together a little video over the last few years. And then the reports of the committees, and we'll have an unfinished business, a new business, and announcements. Okay, so do I have an acceptance of the agenda?
Madam President, I would like to move that we accept the agenda as written.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ben Norman seconds. Yeah, Ben Norman seconds.
Thank you. So we always start with the purpose statement. And I think it's important that we all know, or we're all on the same page, we're all in agreement, we're all here for the same purpose. And so we came up with the purpose of Center Hill was to promote and maintain the soul and the character and the fabric and the relationship, regardless of your age, sex, religion, sexuality, orientation, and marital status, and all that kind of stuff. So that's just important to know. I want to make you aware that we don't have physical copies. We stopped that before COVID. Actually, we don't have physical copies of our meetings, but we do record them. And so they are available on the website, and you can watch the whole thing, and it's like you're there. So you get caught up. And if you're a visual person, there you go. And if you're an audible person, turn the video off and you can just listen. It's like a little podcast, perhaps, I suppose. All right, so let's start with any, well, it looks like the order is actually my president's report, so I'll go there. Let's see, should I go off the the agenda or what's next on the slide? Probably the agenda. Or it doesn't matter. Okay, so as you know, I'm your president. I've been your president for the last 2 years or so now, and been a part of the neighborhood. As you all know, this is an election year. November is the election year. And so there are a lot of resources available to you to get to know the candidates a little bit better. And so a couple of things that I were a part of was the Atlanta City Council Candidate Questionnaire. And our district makes up, our neighborhood makes up 2 districts. Part of us are in District 3 and some of us are in District 9. If you don't know what your district is, you can click on this, find your city council district, put your address in, and it will tell you what district you're in. You'll find out who your city council. So we're running, have a city council mayor, and post at large is running. And so there was also 2 forms that was recorded. So there's 2 candidate forms for District 3 for those candidates that's running, who is currently seated by Antonio Brown. And then District 9, which is the incumbent, is currently Dustin Hillis. And so you can watch all the videos based on those. Okay. And also, if you can oblige, I made a little video that I like to share, and you might find it kind of, some of you guys might have forgot about these moments that we've had. So it's really interesting. And I'm going to share my screen again. There's no audio. I'm just going to talk through. I'm saying the photos might be interesting because they go back. Okay. So, and then it doesn't, and it's really weird because the transition that we did from going virtual, it almost feels like the beginning stages was so long ago and a little bit archaic, even though it really wasn't that long ago. So I wanted to share a little video and give from my perspective from, the beginning to how it started, or how I got involved in becoming the president to where we are. And so it actually started, I attended an MPU meeting, and that's how it started for me. And at the end of each MPU meeting, they have neighborhoods give a report, and there was nobody from Center Hill. So Rhoda, in this picture here, was the first president of the neighborhood. Her and me and Miss Addie, we got together and formed the neighborhood. And then shortly afterwards, I was vice president, but Rhoda stepped down and I became president. And then Aaron Clemens Nicholson is the treasurer, and Miss Addie Calhoun and Chris is Chris was the consultant. And so how it started, block by block, we did a lot of canvassing, grassrooting, knocking on doors, met a lot of people. We would do these on Saturdays. And one time we got rained on. It was just really fun. Chris would bike around, and we met a lot of neighbors. It was really interesting because some of the house was being built and now people live in them now. And where did it start? We started at Johnny B. Moore. We needed a place to have the facility. And so first things first, we began to organize, and we had effective meetings. Our meetings were full, and we got a lot of different perspectives. This is where we got to learn and hear from each other, and just really communicate about what we wanted as a community. And then, so that's what we did. And we solved a lot of problems together. We had so many, we attended so many meetings. I can't even tell you what this meeting was, but it was a gathering neighborhood meeting. And Chris was presenting to another group about our ideas at the time. So that was again, like, if anybody's looking for this map, Chris has that map of the Atlanta Center Hill. And we accomplished a lot. We had a lot of neighborhood projects, like cleanups. On the left, you see Dustin Hillis with, Jason created the logo. You can see him there. And we would meet at the library sometimes for our meetings. And then Jed with the Donald Lee Hollowell. And then we have the yard signs and the book boxes. And we began to really, another thing that I really liked out of our neighborhood over the last few years is that we begin to support one another. And see, on the left side, these are residents from Johnny B. Moore, who were very vocal about the dangers of Donnelly Hollow, and they attended a lot of meetings. And this was a very important meeting. This was the meeting that we got to have many people come in. And on the right, here's another meeting. You can see Miss Addie in there. A lot of people attended these meetings. And this was an actual community advocates meeting for neighborhoods all along Donnelly Hollow. For that was in MPUJ. And what else? So we really came together. That's one of the biggest things I like about this experience, is that we really came together and had unity. And we had a lot of partners from even outside the neighborhood, like Atlanta Bicycle Coalition, the Community Advocates Network, Josh Rowan. And I put this picture on here because this is actually a picture of me riding my bike along Donnelly Hollow. And this was one of the most used pictures in the summertime to talk about Donnelly Hollow. They constantly use that photo. And so that was in the AGJC, and that really helped us get success of our new beacon light that we have now that came in December 2020. So I just want to thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to be your president. It has been a wonderful experience of learning and meeting new people, and we adapted from wearing masks to going virtual. And as you can see, we won a Center Hill Appreciation Award for our neighborhood, and we work together well. So I've met a lot of new people, made a lot of new relationships, and got to do a lot of service work over the last 3 years. So this has been a wonderful experience. So I'm going to switch it back to our original. And I think next would be our special guest, which would be, before we move on, did anyone have any questions about the president report or the candidate forms or anything like that? The questionnaires, the candidate forms, the pictures that depict the history. Any questions? All right, well, we can move on to the next. And City of Atlanta elected officials, or any City of Atlanta elected officials. You're here, Dustin Hillings, right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yep. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. And just want to say great job, Rolanda, for what you've done over the past few years. And as I told you today, I think the neighborhood association needs to make an immediate past president position on their board, so you can stay on the board for another few years. Just kidding, but that is how Riverside works. Was asked to give some updates. I know we talked about traffic calming on Baker Road and also North Avenue over in your neighboring neighborhood of Grove Park. So I introduced legislation about a month or so ago now to implement, I believe, 10 total new always stop signs on both Baker and North. And the Center Hill part of Baker, there'll be, I believe, 4 new stop signs. Those did get approved through council, I believe a few weeks ago, not at this Monday's meeting, but the previous Monday. And so you'll see notification signs that go up within a few weeks. And then about 3 to 4 weeks after that, the actual always stop signs will go up. They'll paint the stop bars, put the stop ahead signs up. So that is a kind of a quick and cheap fix versus speed tables, because as I've told Rolanda before and others, speed tables, there's a huge backlog right now. Myself and Councilmember Boone did make some budget amendments to add more money to that, both last fiscal year and this fiscal year. But they've just now got a contract in place for those. So it's going to clear the backlog. But even if a study got done on Baker, which can be done now, it used to not be done because Baker is a connector or an arterial street. They were only allowed on local roads. It would be years out, and we wanted to get traffic calming as soon as possible. I'm going to have a meeting with Commissioner Owen soon to talk about the other concerns along Baker and North with the lack of sidewalks. He's been sick the past couple weeks, so we should be having a meeting soon. And we usually go out into the neighborhoods and look at the issues firsthand in person. Was asked about getting some enforcement along Baker. There's actually only a small portion of Baker, and I believe it's all over in Grove Park, kind of between Arlington and up to the school that is certified by the state for police to run radar and laser. But I have asked Major Collier and Captain Zigai over at Zone 1 to try to step up some enforcement along Baker to get the speeds down. And again, hopefully these additional always stops will help as well. I was asked, in addition to the sidewalks and ADA ramps and crosswalks, about mid-block crossing lights for places that may not be appropriate for always stops, but people will need to get across the street, for example, the church and other places. So the first step is getting the sidewalks and ramps installed, because we can't put in crosswalks that aren't ADA compliant. So they would have to have sidewalks and ADA ramps. So I may have mentioned at the last meeting, we're going to be going to voters in May of next year in 22 to renew the T-SPLOST, which is this transportation special local option sales tax, which we already pay, but it has to be renewed every, I believe, 5 to 6 years. And also authorize another infrastructure bond, which a large percentage of that bond will also go toward transportation. And as Rolanda knows, because ABC helped advocate for it, 40%, at least 40% of the transportation funds will be going to fund pedestrian infrastructure, sidewalks, things like that. A preliminary plan has kind of been reviewed through the administration. It has some, I would say, pet projects and pork in it. The council, myself, and my colleagues are going to be going through that, pulling stuff that we don't really support off of that, and hopefully getting more infrastructure projects that are needed in our neighborhoods, like sidewalks on Baker and North. And as some of you know, the actual dividing line, Rolanda said you could look it up by your address, but just simply, if you live on the north side of Baker, you're in District 9. If you live on the south side of Baker, you're in District 3. And given that those roads are currently the dividing line between the two districts, hopefully those costs can be split between District 3 and District 9. So we hope to finalize a list, tweak the current list that definitely needs tweaking, and adopt that list by the end of the year. So I'll definitely have more updates on that. And we'll definitely update you all after I have a meeting with ATL DOT Commissioner Rowan. So with that, if there's any questions or concerns, we'll be glad to take them.
Good evening, Councilman Hillis. This is Taryn Bell. My first question is, so in regards to the traffic study, can we still have one? I know there's a backlog and all of that, but we would still like a traffic study.
Yeah, we definitely still do a traffic study. I think I may have already put in for one. I'll double check with ATL DOT. Either way, they're about 6 months out from when they're requested. I think I requested one for Baker and for North, but I'll check with the council liaison with ATL DOT to see about that. And if not, I'll certainly request it.
Okay. So will we know more about sidewalks in December after the December 6th meeting?
Yeah, the hope of the council was to adopt a list that voters will be able to have in front of them by the end of the year as they consider, this referendum that'll go out to voters in May.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in terms of that budget, 40% will go towards sidewalks in the city of Atlanta as a whole.
That's correct.
Okay. How do we know that Center Hill and Baker Road is not going to be left behind, behind Buckhead and other neighborhoods?
So one of the actual projects is already in the plan is either putting in totally new sidewalks or restoring sidewalks along Donnelly Hollowell.
Mhm.
To the total length of Donnelly Hollowell. So that will be definitely coming through Center Hill. Baker Road is an addition to that I'm going to advocate to get on that list.
Okay, and advocating that it's not going to stop at Grove Park.
No,
Okay. Those were my questions. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Could you talk a little bit about the T-spot that that's designed to the text that's designed to focus on sidewalks, but also that T-spot is focused on distressed areas first or underserved areas first?
Ask that question one more time.
Could you talk a little bit about the T-spot?
Yeah. So T-Splost is a special local option sales tax, which making it a sales tax is good because it allows not only residents to pay, but people that come in to the city of Atlanta from outside the area and spend money, whether they're going to sporting events or just passing through and buying stuff at the store. So we have there are different local option sales taxes and education, local option sales tax, transportation. So this transportation one was, I believe, first authorized in 2015. It's expiring, so it needs to be renewed. So all of the T-Splost money will go towards transportation. The bond money will be split between transportation, parks, and public safety.
So I was saying all that to say that the T-Spot address sidewalks and safety issues, and it is designed to prioritize equity and safe access to transit, starting with high injury network committees. And Donnelly Hollowell is definitely a high injury network. So that's when the question was asked, how do we make sure that our neighborhood isn't left behind? Is a good way of doing that is getting behind like a policy agenda like the Atlanta Bicycle Coalition, whose recommendation is to do just that. So that was a good tie-in. All right, any other questions?
Yep, I had one more question. Well, one question. I put it in the chat, but Dustin, I'd be curious to know what your recommendation is as far as additional enforcement in front of Woodson Park along DLH, especially, or at least during school hours. That little yellow blinking light might as well not be there. And we've already had one fatality during the school year that, the kids had to avert their eyes so that they didn't see. So what can we do? What's your suggestion?
So I will reach out to Zone 1 to ask for more enforcement along Donnelly Hollowell. As you all know, we had a fatality crash a couple weeks ago. They're very close to the school where one, I believe, woman was killed going too fast, head on to semi. So I will ask both Zone 1, and then also they'll notify the citywide traffic enforcement team for some help. But also, as you all know, Donnelly Hollowell is a state route, so I'll also have them reach out to the Georgia State Patrol to see if we can get some additional enforcement there as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Hillis, I have a question, please.
Hey, Ms. Calhoun.
Yes, I wanted to find out about the GDOT intention of community input regarding the revisions of Donnelly Hollowell. We're supposed to be getting started with community input within the last, in August, and we haven't heard anything about input yet. Atlanta Bicycle Coalition is working with us, but when will we start that input so that we can at least move forward with the
Yeah, I have not heard any updates as well myself from GDOT.
Okay.
So I'm going to be reaching out to them and getting, number one, a schedule to see where we are, and we'll definitely communicate that to the neighborhoods along Hollowell.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I have a question. I'm Rhoda, and my question is, we appreciate the work you're doing, and you're doing a lot, But the question is, how do we help you? How do we get a seat at the table where we're communicating with these people who are making decisions about where we live? I mean, what do we need to do? Do we need to write letters? Do we need to make phone calls? Do we need to stand outside with a sign? What do we need to do to help you communicate to them how important it is to us to have sidewalks, to have input, to not have so many houses built that most of us that live in the area can't afford?
Yeah, so I mean, you're at a good point already because you're involved in the neighborhood. You're here at this meeting. I will definitely make sure that anything that comes up that affects Center Hill, whether it's something on the city council or it's a GDOT meeting, as would ask, when that community input's going to start. But would love all of you all to be at those meetings and make your voices heard to what you want to see in the neighborhood. And I will put my information. I know most of you already have my information, but anyone that doesn't, when I'm done here, I'll type my personal phone number and my email into the chat. No matter the problem, how big or how large, please reach out.
All right, any other questions before we move on to Fulton County elected officials or other special guests?
I have a question, Rolanda. This is Miranda. Is there anything that we can do to get, I don't know, some sort of signage along Donald Lee Hollowell, just warning like pedestrians? And I've seen these people in scooters on Donald Lee Hollowell, just like riding on the road. And I don't think some of them are aware of how dangerous it is. And I go slow on Donald Lee Hollowell, but I'm not looking for a scooter to be in the middle of the lane. And so it's just very concerning to me. I think as new people move into the neighborhood, they're just not aware of the danger of Donald Lee Hollowell. I know I wasn't until I moved here. And so it just might be helpful to have some sort of sign like warning pedestrians and cyclists and maybe people who ride scooters, just this is not a very safe highway, just take caution.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, with it being a state highway, the signage is the responsibility of GDOT. I've communicated that, and I believe they've made a signage revamp, especially when it comes to safety, as part of the project. Because back when I first started this Hollowell thing, and I rode along Hollowell, and literally from the Bankhead MARTA station all the way to the river, which is the length of my district, there were only 5 speed limit signs. That's on both sides of the street. So both the north side and the south side, between them, they only had 5 speed limit signs. So I think they've come in and done some revamps of at least the speed limit signs, but the warning signs and pedestrian signs and things like that is part of the revamp. And like I said, I hope to get an update on that very soon.
Excuse me, one moment. Councilman Hillis, when I'm called the Department of, Transportation for GDOT, they will put the blame back on Atlanta, and they will say it's Atlanta's responsibility. But when I ask Atlanta, they say it's the state's responsibility. We keep ping-ponging back and forth whose responsibility it is to take Donald Lee Hollowell. So what do we need to do as citizens? Who do we need to address this to?
Yeah. So as far as I know, any kind of street problems, street signage problems, that is GDOT's responsibility. That's who I worked with to get the 3 approved pedestrian beacons done. One of them is currently installed. The other 2 are going to require right-of-way acquisition. There's 5 more coming as part of the project that GDOT's taken on. The thing that they certainly put on the responsibility of the city is the sidewalks. And that's the reason why I spoke earlier about the T-SPLOST and Renew money that is going to be used. That's all city money is going to be used to revamp the sidewalks along the whole length of Donald Lee Hollowell. But if you don't know and you've got a certain issue, just email me and we'll either communicate it to HLDOT or GDOT or both if we don't know the answer.
All right, I know this is an important topic to many of us. Is there any other questions before we move on? Okay, so next we have any Fulton County elected officials? Thank you, Dustin Hillis.
Yeah, just want to say thank you all so much again, and I will type my contact information in the chat. Take care.
All right, other special guests, I think there is a Joan Joan Major from Query Yards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Joan Vernon. I'm your neighbor on Bankhead on the English Avenue side. I'm also facilitating and hosting the meetings for the Quarry Yard site, the community engagement sessions. Many of the comments that you all brought up tonight around transportation on Donnelly Hollowell is one of the 4 areas of focus that we are working on. There's been a lot of feedback in the previous sessions. There was one held on August 25th. And one just held last week on September 30th. So this is an opportunity for you all to share some of these same concerns. We have a whole column designated to housing, transportation, quality of life. Now we've added safety, and all of the input that comes from these sessions will be used in future conversations with the Microsoft team who's developing Quarry Yards. And I'm sure that, I'm glad that the councilman is on the line, but I'm sure that they also will be engaging conversations with GDOT. So some of those questions you all had about how can we engage, these are sessions where you can engage directly with other residents that are in the area surrounding the Quarry Yard sites who care about the same things you all care about. And that feedback will be used to develop a good neighbor relationship between the neighborhoods near Quarry Yards and the Microsoft team developing the Quarry Yard site. So I'm gonna post in the chat a link. Oh, I already got it set up. So posting that there. It doesn't look like it went through. Let's try it again. Do you all see it in the chat? No, it may come up twice.
Not yet.
There we go. You got a double whammy of it. So it's on there twice, but we've got that in the chat. Please follow the link. Please share with your neighbors. You also may have received the mailers regarding the meetings in your mailbox. We may not do the mailers this time, but we will have the same level of engagement in the meetings coming up. These are the deep dive sessions. So now we're actually getting down to problems and solutions to develop some language around how we'd like for not only Microsoft, but the city and the state to support us in developing the kind of neighborhood that's going to be conducive to a large development like what's happening at Quarry Yards. So please follow that link. If you have neighbors that are not mobile or have internet issues or don't even have a computer, there's a phone number and an email there. We are able to get devices and connectivity to those neighbors that are homebound or without connectivity. We want as many people involved in these meetings as possible. So please, as residents in the neighborhood with such a catalytic development coming into the community, please get engaged, let your voice be heard, and let's take these matters that you're mentioning on this call up to the next level and see if we can get some things done. Okay, and I'm here if there are any questions for me as well.
I have a question, Joan. One thing that I came across from residents in Houston, Texas, when Hewlett Packard came to their neighborhood, one of the things that they did was pay for their water bill. So Hewlett Packard pays for this area's water bill. For example, it's so much less they need to fill their pool, and it would have cost them hundreds of dollars, and it only cost them $20. So I think that could be a good way for residents that are that need support, and that could be a good way, like a financial assistance. But it was for all the residents and wasn't based on income levels or anything like that. So I wanted to bring that up as well as a suggestion.
I love it. That's a great idea. So I put that down as well. And I'll add that to the list under charitable giving and see if that's a possibility. I appreciate that. Is there any other feedback or questions?
Thank you.
I would just like to second what Rolanda said, just in terms of how powerful that act was. More than just service, but the fact that, you're coming into a neighborhood and it's now completely going to change. And so with that in mind, just providing that assistance for people, I think that's major. So I just wanted to second what she said.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And that was Houston, Texas, right?
And
Okay.
Hewlett Packard.
Yeah, I'll pull the case study and present it in the next meeting with Microsoft. Thank you.
I have a question. Good evening, everyone. I just moved into the neighborhood. I don't know too much. When is Microsoft coming?
Well, the site has already been purchased. Development is going to happen over a series of years. Right now, they're focused primarily on community engagement, and that's why we're hosting these sessions to allow for community input, one, at a granular level based on what community needs right now, outside of just the development of the site. And then in the future, around the end of the year, beginning of the year, you'll start to hear more of the conversations around the master planning.
Okay.
And I've got a quick question. I really appreciate you being here today. This is Jason. I'm just curious about any future or any plans for skills training, especially tech skills training. That's obviously would be beneficial to Microsoft to build out the tech pipeline, but it would be hugely beneficial to the neighborhood to start that now. I mean, the Atlantic Station campus is about to be open. So rather than waiting until, you know, eight years from now to start that, I think it's something that could be started sooner rather than later. And I was wondering if that's happening.
Great question. So yes, this has actually come up a lot. So right now I know that the Microsoft team is working on a site, which will be a portal, so that some of that information can feed into them directly. As soon as that site is active, or we can, publicize it, I'll definitely bring it back to your chair as well as your MPU. But right now, it's a matter of just going through the regular process of kind of applying for Microsoft. But we wanted to do something special, or propose to do something special for the neighborhood surrounding Corey Yards. So just be on the lookout for that special link that will put you right into a pipeline for them to view those neighbors and the talent that's nearby the site. And Jason, if you want to put your information in the chat or send a direct message to me, I can add you to that list as well.
Sure, that sounds great.
And anyone else who'd like to connect directly, the West Atlanta Neighbors at gmail.com email is a good email, as well as the text message. Any of the feedback that I receive from the community, I do bring it back to the Microsoft team. I keep it anonymous. And a general rule of the meetings is we are doing confidentiality until there is consensus. So none of the data or the information that you share with me will be shared with the Microsoft team, outside of the feedback that you all would like for them to know.
When you do your case study, could you share that with me specifically about the Hewlett Packard and the water?
Sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Make a note of that.
Here's my contact information. How long does that take for to do that study and give it to Microsoft and all that kind of stuff, so I can get an idea when I could be expecting and manage my expectations?
So I'm going to research it in preparation of our Wednesday meeting.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions before we move on?
Well, awesome. Thank you all for letting me join your meeting tonight. I'm going to stay on so I could listen in, and I look forward to meeting all of you and continuing to do the work. Be blessed.
Thank you. All right, so we'll start with this portion of the meeting is the reports of the committees. We have several committees. We have the beautifications, communications, education, zoning, entertainment, and events, which is an open position. And they're responsible for hosting entertainment events. Like, for example, this isn't an event, but this is something that we've been talking as a neighborhood, is something about Halloween, doing like some type of dropping things at the door. Anonymous Aaron is sharing that. But we also did a Netflix night, a virtual Netflix night. So those are some ideas for events that we're looking for someone to oversee that. And we also have zoning and environmental committee. We also have a public safety that's open as well. And we also have a finance that's open. So we'll get started with the Beautification Committee, which is chaired by Miranda.
Hello. So I didn't actually put this on here, but we just had a cleanup that Bellwood Homes did on September 25th in Cary and Almond Park. So we like to partner with them and support their cleanup efforts because they support ours. So we just did that in September for those who attended. We do have our own neighborhood cleanup coming up on October 23rd. That is not that. I don't think that's the correct slide. I sent an updated slide, but anyway, I don't know if you guys got it, but we do have one coming up on October 23rd. Yep, still not it, but that's okay. It's from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And the area that we're going to be focusing on is Hood Avenue and Rhine Street. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with that area that I'm talking about, but if you're coming on Holmes, it's the road on your right before Baker Road at the red light. You can turn on Rhine and then take a left on Hood. That whole area really needs a lot of attention, and there's some dumping actually going on around there. So I figured it was a good area for us to target. And I'll post the flyer on our social media, but just know, save the date. It's Saturday, October 23rd from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Gloves, trash pickers, and trash bags will be provided. So just come and bring a neighbor and help us clean up the area. And then I had another slide. It's not going to be on this, but I just wanted to mention information about Keep Atlanta Beautiful. And if you have, because they have a great resource on their website for like what to recycle, when to recycle, who to call if you need to recycle stuff, what to do for bulk pickup items. But if you're not sure what you can recycle and what you can't, if you go to the Keep Atlanta Beautiful website, there's like a little, I don't know what you call it, but it's like a search thing. You can like click in, you can type in glass and they'll tell you where you can recycle it, or when your trash pickup day is, or if there's a mattress that you need to recycle, they can tell you if it's eligible for like bulk item pickup, or if you can, if not, you can drop it off at a charm facility. Because I know I've driven around the neighborhood lately and I don't know why I'm seeing a lot of mattresses all of a sudden, but there's mattresses everywhere. And so if you didn't know, that is an item that's eligible for bulk pickup. So you can request that. All you have to do is download the ATL 311 app and just follow the prompts. It's very easy. You can request for bulk item pickups for a lot of things, not just a mattress, but a lot of things, and a mattress is on there if you didn't know that. There's also a charm facility nearby. Ours is the one off of Hill Street for other items that need to be recycled. And if you're concerned about dumping, you can also use the ATL 311 app to report any illegal dumping or littering. So I just wanted to put that out there once again and just kind of empower us to, if you see something, you know, we don't have to wait for someone else to do something about it. We can do it. So yeah, that's it.
You are absolutely right. That's one of the things that becoming a part of the neighborhood meetings, having a sense of feeling empowered, of knowing where to go to solve my issues and my problems, and then seeing them actually solved. So I think that's you hit the nail on the head. Any questions to Miranda before we move on to communications?
And I can put those links in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, communications chaired by Jason.
Yeah, I've got a slide too.
Okay.
But you all probably saw what I'm talking about. Oh, this is an old slide. That's not right.
Well, let me, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna look and see if I can find the correct slides, because it looks like this ain't it.
But a real quick update, the only visual was what everybody already saw. We now have an official newsletter. It's a big upgrade from sending out emails just through regular inbox email. We're using MailChimp, which has added benefit of being able to share access more easily. The other thing that's kind of a nice to have is now when people sign up, they'll automatically be subscribed. And then we also are using Zapier too, if anybody's familiar, to send that and keep our membership list up to date in Google Docs. So that's all good. Excited about that. Forward progress. With t-shirts and t-shirt delivery. We had someone who paid for a membership and paid for t-shirts, and I didn't see the order. And I've been neglectful of delivering t-shirts, so I'm going to update the automated email that gets sent out to let people know that they can call me or send me a text message, and I'm at home and they can pick up their t-shirt and yard sign at their convenience. If Tiffany Reddick is on the meeting today, I don't see her, but I owe her a t-shirt as well. And then I think next step there is to have our membership roll be up to date and keep track of when members have paid their dues and when their annual due date is. And I think that's it for me.
All right. Okay, I got the right folder up. I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. Can you guys see that?
Yes. We see.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Miranda's dates here. If anybody needed that. And more of that. And Jason's comments. I saw that email, very great email. That's what reminded me of this meeting. So I appreciate you sending out the emails. Very helpful. Any other questions to Jason?
Just that if anybody wants to send upcoming events, next Thursday, I'm trying to get on the cadence of sending out upcoming events in the neighborhood. So if they want to send it to centerhillna@gmail.com or jason.h.davis@gmail.com. And I'll add it to the upcoming events.
All right. 1 second, communications. Next we have zoning.
Good evening. I'm Taryn Bell over the zoning committee. Please excuse my background. My 2-year-old is home. So what's going on in the city right now? We have major ordinances and discussion for zoning. Councilman Faroki, his is probably the one that's being discussed right now, most right now, in which if you live a certain proximity to a MARTA station, your home is going to be rezoned. So that was brought forward or to the zoning board last week, I believe. It did not pass. And I believe it did not pass. You guys, I'm really sorry. I believe it did not pass because of all the questions and concerns regarding it. So there's still some time, for people to voice their concerns. The public hearing was September 27th. I know Ms. Addie had some difficulties getting on. I think Ms. Addie, you were trying to call and voice your concerns and you were having some difficulties. In one of Jason's communications, I believe the steps were posted, but I can send that to him again after I touch base with Councilman Hillis about next steps for that, if there's going to be another public hearing or not regarding that. So I think that's the biggest conversation right now in terms of zoning in the city. So you guys just keep your ears open for that. I'll try to bring forth all the information that I can. And that's what I have for you tonight. Thank you.
I had someone at my door. So all the zoning information has been done?
Yeah, zoning has completed. I know you wanted me to go over those important numbers that are posted, or those important contacts that are posted. Jason also has them on the website.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next we have code enforcement needs of China. Okay, this is new. Is this part of the zoning part?
All of these have been reported.
Recorded or reported?
Pardon?
You said reported, all of these addresses have been reported?
They've all been reported.
Okay. Ms. Addie, is your address on there? I had mentioned to Dustin Hillis about your situation on Cedar. Are you still having a situation with that?
They actually cleared, they've addressed it, but he doesn't believe, he needs to do anything about it. He's still parking the trucks on the street just as of right now. So, it's like, he's not gonna do what he needs to do. They need to shut the tow truck business down. That's what they need to do. So I hope he'll go to court and we will see it, and that we can go there. No, it's not been completed.
Okay, is Dustin Hillis still on the line?
It's been addressed, it's just that it has to be finalized. So we'll continue to work with it.
So there's nothing that we could do at this point. We just gotta let the situation, next steps happen.
Just keep reporting it. Just gotta keep reporting, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I told him that we having issues on Cedar with the truck, so he's aware of it. Okay, any other code enforcements before we move on? All right, Education Committee, is Rhoda in the room?
Yes, I am. I always try to keep myself short. So I'm excited about the new Windows 11. If I could have put the commercial on there, I would. You guys probably want to go find them yourself. Because they talk about one thing that's really interesting with the pandemic now is that you can push like a button and it'll instantly take you to Teams, or if you push another button, it'll instantly take you to a chat or text. It's supposed to be a lot simpler for that kind of communication. So that's why I say watch the commercials, really great. They're going to vote on Splashed. This is the education one. They're going to vote on that, I think, November 2nd. They have been having meetings trying to let the community know that they're going to do this. This is supposed to help your schools, like they remodel the schools. If there's something broken, like a water pipe, I'm simplifying it, like a water pipe, or they need to change out the carpeting. It's for things like that. Computers as well. Anything that's going to benefit the children and the infrastructure, that's what Splash is for. October the 18th, District 2. If you're in, I think, the Douglas cluster, I believe that's the cluster, that's District 2. So they're having a meeting at 5:30 to 6:30. It'll be on Zoom, and that's Monday, October 18th.
All right. Any questions for the Education Committee?
Rhoda, I was questioning because I thought they said they were gonna table the SPLOS for education, since they didn't have a lot of time to do the community input.
I'm not, now that one I'll have to check on, because as far as I know, and I've been trying to go on the Board of Ed, they're going to vote on it, but they may be that they don't have enough community input. Because I think the last round of input where they went out to schools back in September, like the third week in September. They had a representative go out. So that's the last I heard. But I'll check back on that and I'll look more into it. Thank you, Miss Addie.
Thank you, Rhoda, for all your hard work. And I didn't even know there was a S block, so you definitely taught me that. So thank you for the information. Thank you.
Rhoda, do you know if the MARTA slots gonna be there as well on the
No.
ballot?
Not that I know of. I know that's right. Marta's supposed to have a meeting in December. I was trying to see if I could find it. I think it's around December 1st or 2nd. And I'll make sure in the next report, I will have that up there.
Miss Addie, I believe it was. I believe that we're voting on both SPLOST, the education SPLOST and the transportation SPLOST, unless they deferred that. But those were, I think, voted to be approved to be on the ballot like a month ago.
All right, that's, I had
Yeah,
looked
it is
maybe
Marta.
prior
I
to
got it
a
here.
month.
Marta's, they're having a public hearing to review and comment on proposed bus service changes. If approved by the MARTA board, it will be effective December 4th, 2021.
All right. Are we good to move on? Does anyone have any other questions? Thank you again, Rhoda. Appreciate your support. And did we go through all the committees? Let's see.
Environmental.
Environmental. That's chaired by me, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Oh,
Here's
you got
the
pictures?
slides. Yes,
My
the
bad.
slide there. Yeah.
Is this it? Okay, good.
Yep. So last month on the 18th, we had a cleanup day. This was the one I mentioned last month. It was really sort of sponsored by Park Pride, bringing in Coca-Cola bottler staff. So we had about 15 attendees, and they came ready to clean, and they did a lot of good work. So our major accomplishments, finished cleaning off that runoff soil on the basketball court, where you just literally have to shovel the mud that runs off when it rains hard, and then it dries, and you really can't even dribble a basketball on the court. So we finished shoveling all that topsoil off the asphalt, and then we moved the bench, that metal pavilion bench that was over there in the mud, and we moved it over on the asphalt to relocate it. So now you can sit up on there without being in the mud. And then we also did a lot to clear the underbrush at the beginning of what's going to be the new trail to make a path going down to Proctor Creek, and I have some pictures on the next couple of slides if you want to go to the next slide. So there we are, the first one cleaning off, shoveling off the mud. That was the before picture, but you can see behind me where all that mud, when it rains, just gets on the court and makes it almost unusable for, especially when it gets really thick. That second slide is where we moved the bleachers over, so it's now accessible more readily. And the third picture is kind of a distance view, but that's right there by that pavilion going off back down there to the creek. That's a zoomed out picture, but if you go to the next slide, you see where it kind of zoomed in, where we made it a visible path now. Lay down some little trees and cleared the path down, and then you can go walk down that path and get right down there to the creek, that third picture, the Proctor Creek. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully that'll open up the invitation for people to go down there and explore, and you can get down through there real easily now without getting poison ivy or it's very visible now as a path. Now, will this be paved eventually? No, none of these paths are paved, but there's not really paving that you do with these trails, these nature trails, but we may go back and infill it with some sort of gravel or rubberized pellets or something like that. but you won't really pave these, so they remain kind of more natural.
Is that the beginning of Proctor Creek?
Well, it's not the beginning of Proctor Creek. Proctor Creek snakes down through the park, but it just goes down there to the creek right there beside DHL.
Hmm.
And then if you go to the next slide,
Okay.
and then on the legacy grant where we're going to build that trail, we're going to be engaging this company, MTB Atlanta, that actually design trails in parks to be used. They're multi-purpose trails, so it could be used for mountain biking, running, jogging, or walking. And they go through with a excavator, to kind of your point, Rolanda, they go through an excavator, which kind of churns up the soil going down a few inches, that'll pull up any roots and rocks, and it kind of stabilizes that ground so that it's flat, and they come back with a pactor, and it packs it all back down and punches it down, and then you can put something on top of that to make it a nice little walking trail.
Okay.
So,
Are you?
yeah, so that's it.
Thank you, Ben. This reminds me, Taryn and I hope you don't mind me sharing, we're both in the Georgia State Walking College with AARP. And a part of that, it's a 6-month class. And basically, we at the end of it, which we actually finished this month, you have to complete an action plan. And there's a instructor over at Kennesaw. He wants to put in a path, and he similar to what you're talking about. And I'm like, wow, this could have been in the walking college.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that program?
No, I never have. I want to learn more about that.
Yeah, I think you would definitely be interested in that. Because it's all about sidewalks necessarily, but not just well, it's not all about sidewalks, but it's about making people move more, especially because of COVID and all that kind of stuff. So I think you'd definitely be interested in that. There might be a new cohort coming up, but we'll have our last ceremony October 25th or something like that. So we just finished, but it began in June, I think it was. So yeah. Anyway,
Okay,
thank
great.
you for your work and your support. This is awesome.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Yeah, any questions? All right, thank you.
So this is actually done by MTB Atlanta?
Well, they're going to be the ones that helped actually go through and trench out the trail going through the woods from the one side of the ball field back around to the other side. So you can go back through the woods following along parallel to the creek, and then it'll loop back around to the other side. So you can make a full, what it'll do is allow you to make a walking trail. You can walk around that ball field in a complete circle, even if there were games being played, because you won't be interfering with the players on the field.
I think this is pretty awesome. If you could connect me with them, because I'm an avid mountain biker.
Okay.
So I know MTB, they have cleanups and stuff like that, but it's mostly on trails. But that would be kind of cool I'd like to participate in that.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I'll get that information.
Thank you. Any other questions? Sorry about that. All right. Is there any more committees that we have? Finance Committee.
Yep. So our little account continues to grow. Thank you for those that are making your monthly dues payment or paying them all for the year. Our balance to date is $901.04. And as a reminder, you can pay your dues online by visiting centerhillatl.com. And that is all.
Speaking of this, Miranda, you had mentioned about adding signs, and maybe that's something that we can possibly do a fundraiser or something to put signs up ourselves along Donnelly Howell. Just a suggestion.
I like that idea. I actually thought about making my own signs, just writing it with a black Sharpie.
Maybe we can get some, word like printed or something along those lines and kind of plop them along the way. Maybe we could, it'll be a good way for us to engage the businesses and seeing if we can like put something in front of their building, because what Dustin Hillis was talking about with GDOT's signage, I think it's more along the lines of talking about pedestrians. Like, it's not saying this is necessarily a dangerous highway. It's more saying, everybody has to pay attention. So it's not very specific to, I think, our needs. And this could allow us to be more specific in what we want to say. So it's just a thought. Could you repeat that?
I'm sorry, I apologize. I was wondering, could we get the speed limit lowered? Because standing out there watching one time, it is phenomenal how fast people go, even when they're coming in. And a lot of people come in from Cobb County, coming through Donnelly Hallwell to get to Atlanta. And it's amazing. They're like driving 40, 45 miles an hour. I don't know how we would get the speed limit lowered on Donnelly Hallwell, lower than it already is.
Well, I think they're just trying to have people be conscious of it, saying that driving is a two-way street. It's both the pedestrian's responsibility as well as the driver's responsibility. But there's a lot of history with that, so I won't go into that. But any other finance questions? Thank you, Aaron, for keeping us up to date and going over our finances and all that good stuff. Any questions towards this? All right. Unfinished business. So who do I have the pleasure of turning this over to?
Me.
Okay.
Okay. Me. Good evening, everybody. You've heard my voice, and I'm the wonderful little cartoon character that you see, which I like the cartoon character. If you all insist, I can show my face. But the nominating committee, and they're wonderful. We have the wonderful Miss Addie Calhoun. We have the astounding Ben Norman, fantastic Jason Davis, and terrific Miss Ellison. I can't pronounce her name. I think that's everyone. If I missed anybody, please shout out and say who you are. But all these great people got together and they determined, and they looked and waited on answers from people to kind of suggest some people for our slate of officers. And for the president, it was Taryn Bell. For vice president, Rhoda Broner. For secretary, Miranda Blaze. Please correct me, I probably said it wrong. Assistant secretary, Ben Norman. We're still looking for a recording treasurer, and our receiving treasurer was Jason Davis. So if anyone else is interested in serving in any office, we would love to hear from you. But as it stands right now, those are the people. Did everybody hear me?
I can hear you. You said my name right, Miss Rhoda. Thanks.
Okay, please. I hate to mispronounce. Although my name is simple, it's Rhoda, but everyone says Rhoda. That's okay, and I'll answer to anything, especially when you call me for. So if anyone else was interested in a position, my email address, and I'll put my email address and phone number in the chat, or any one of the other members of the committee. I'm sure we'd love to hear from you if you're interested in serving. And sometimes people are intimidated by serving for an office. The office is probably only as hard as you want it to be, because if you want to just, minimal, that's great. It's wonderful. The important thing is that you want to serve and be a part of the community. That's the most important thing, because all you can do is try, and you've got great support. Everyone I've seen, Rolanda showed you, Centennial has worked together and have created this family. So it's amazing to be a part of that. And I'm so happy and overwhelmed with what the team has done the past 3 years, because We had no Center Hill Neighborhood Association for maybe a decade. As far as I know, we didn't have. And for these people to come back and just get it up and running, and they had no knowledge and no experience, and they were the first. So don't let anything about that intimidate you. Just go ahead. We're happy to have you, want you on board. Any other sales pitches from any other members of the committee?
No, I couldn't agree more. Thank you for sharing that, what you said. And it's definitely, I think most of us have a passion for our neighborhood, and that also brings us together. And I agree with you. It is like a family. And thank you, Rhoda, for being our first president and this lineup, but everyone,
I like it.
the committee, I believe that you will definitely bring us forward to what we want to accomplish next as a community. Very confident in all of you guys. I'm very excited.
And I'll just say this one final thing. I have never stepped down from a position in my life, but I saw a lot of good things from these people. I need to be their president. They took the ball and ran with it. I've never been so happy to resign from a position as I was this one, because it was amazing what happened when I got out of the way. These people, just some astounding people. And again, they had no experience. A lot were new to the neighborhood. So don't let any of that discourage you. If you want to be an officer, by all means. And if somebody wants to be vice president, I will happily step down, because I know there's probably going to be some fantastic leadership.
All right, so we're voting next month.
Yes, I believe we are. Next month is our election time.
Are we planning on putting an announcement so people could come to the meetings and be aware of what's going on during that time? Like,
of course.
Okay.
Notice I wasn't too enthusiastic, was it? Of course, we get flyers out and let people know, spread the word. And again, reiterate, if somebody is interested in a position, by all means, let us know or nominate yourself. Wherever you think you'll be great.
This is exciting. Any other questions before we move on? All right, and I think lastly we have, oh, that's more. That's
Did we get the, I must have missed the slate.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
I'll say it again. I'm sorry. I should
I thought
probably have done that.
I thought that was a slide. I thought that was a slide.
I think
I didn't put it up. I didn't know if I should have or not.
I don't see any more slides.
That was me. Next time I'll put the slate on the slide. I'm sorry. I apologize for not doing that.
And did we open the floor for additional nominations?
No, ma'am. I just kept trying to encourage people to run. I would love that.
Okay, well, we need to.
Do we do that now?
Yes, we need to do that.
Okay. Is there anyone, the floor is definitely open. Is there anyone else interested in running for an office?
Can you take it one at a time? Like the nominee, the nomination for president, and then.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Okay.
Are there any nominations for president other than Taryn Bell? No other nominations? Going once? Going twice? Going three times?
Madam Chair, I move that the nomination be closed on the set name.
Yes, ma'am. The nominations for president are now closed. Are there any further nominations?
I didn't hear a second. We need a second.
Ben Norman, second.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Miss Addie. Okay, the nominations for vice president are now open. Are there any nominations for vice president? One.
We have no, do we have anyone? Do we have anyone? A name for vice president?
No other?
No
Okay.
one's, no one.
If there are no other nominations for vice president, the nominee Rhoda Bronner shall remain.
Madam
Are there any
Chair,
nominations?
Madam Chair, I move
I
that the
keep forgetting
nomination,
about your first motion to close the
Right.
nominations for vice president.
yes,
Is there a second?
I second the nomination, the motion.
Hearing no further, the
Did you
nominations.
mention me somewhere, Miss Addie? I heard my
Beg your
name.
pardon?
Did you say something? Were you
No.
asking me? Okay.
No,
The nominations for vice president are closed. We're opening the nominations for secretary. Are there any further nominations for secretary?
and the nominee is,
Oh, I was going to say that at the end. The nomination for secretary is Miranda Blass. Are there
Okay.
any further nominations?
Madam
Okay,
Chair, I
hearing
move
none.
that the nominations for the position of secretary be closed on the said name.
Thank you. I was about to say thank you so much. Is there a
Alan,
second?
Yeah, Ben Norman seconds.
Okay, the nominations are now closed. Miranda Blass stays as the nomination for secretary. Now we go to the nomination for assistant secretary, Ben Norman. Are there any other nominations for assistant secretary? Are there
Madam
any
Chair,
further?
Madam Chairperson, I move that we close the nominations with the said name of Ben Norman as Assistant Secretary.
Is there a second?
I'm Deborah
I
Williams.
second that.
Nation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Williams. The nomination for assistant secretary will remain Ben Norman. Now we have nominations for recording treasurer. Is there anyone or are there any nominations for recording treasurer? Any suggestions? Any nominees? Okay. Well, we'll continue our search. We're receiving.
Madam
Yes,
Chair,
Madam
was,
Chair?
no. I would like to nominate Ms. Erin Nixon.
Aaron spoke earlier.
Okay, all right,
Yes, that's why I didn't include the name.
okay.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. So that one, does anyone have any nominations at all for recording treasurer? What you'll do is just keep the financial records. Like when money comes in, you'll keep records of the bank account. Basically all the stuff that requires writing. Is that correct, everyone?
Madam Chair, I will volunteer to serve in that position.
Recording treasurer?
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Motion to close.
I move that we close the nomination for recording secretary on the said name.
Excellent, thank you. Second.
And I second that.
Wonderful. So we have our recording treasurer as Ms. Eddie Calhoun. Receiving treasurer, Jason Davis is our nominee. Are there any other nominations? Jason Davis is our recording treasurer. Are there any other nominations?
Madam Chair, I move that we close the nominations on the said name of Jason Davis for the receiving treasurer.
Excellent. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you so much. Well, as it stands right now, our president, our name for president is Taryn Bell. Our vice president is Rhoda Bronner. Our secretary is Miranda Blaze. Thank you so much for that correction. Our assistant secretary is Ben Norman. Our recording treasurer is Addie Calhoun. Our receiving treasurer is Jason Davis. Right now, these are our nominees for our officers for next month. I'm
All right.
finished.
Any further questions? Okay. So we do have announcements, and I think we had another guest in the room. Let's see. Devin Barrington Ward.
Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. How's everyone doing this evening? My apologies for being off camera. I'm going to try and pull off somewhere. I was actually just walking the Center Hill neighborhood with my crew of volunteers, trying to get the word out about this very important election. I am Devin Barrington Ward, and I am running to be your next District 9 Atlanta City Council member. I'm running on a platform that recognizes the needs of the community because I've actually been walking the streets of the community to find out what the concerns are. And what people have been telling me about is young people who are getting into trouble because they don't have any job opportunities or programs to keep them out of trouble. I've been hearing about the lack of code enforcement, with some really egregious properties as far as that have not just been kept well, but have been neglected by the city as it pertains to their responsibility to hold those folks accountable. And so we're also concerns about Microsoft and how that development can impact residents who are living here and the future of the communities in Council District 9, mostly Center Hill, Grove Park, Collier Heights, and others. And so I'm excited to bring my skill set as a community organizer who has gotten more money in the city budget for HIV prevention and treatment services, which is a serious issue in this area as we have one of the highest HIV rates in the country. I've been proud to be able to work as a member of the task force to reimagine our empty extra city detention center into a center for equity, wellness, and freedom, and divert $1.5 million of funding from the Corrections Department towards crime prevention initiatives in the community. And so I want to be able to expand upon that as you all city council member. And I think more importantly, beyond the issues, because we know that we aren't always going to agree on everything. I think access, visibility, and accessibility is extremely important. You all deserve a city council member that is actually going to walk the streets of this community to see what is happening and do something, and not just pay lip service to it, but actually do something about it. I have a track record of results. And so I'm happy to offer myself to service, particularly as a resident of Center Hill. So thank you all. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them now, but also feel free to reach out to me. My number is 770-595-8625. That's one of my cell phones. And so feel free, excuse me, tongue twister, to reach out to me with any questions or concerns that you want to bring to my attention. Thank you.
Okay. Any other announcements? All right, so October 26th is the next MPU meeting. Everything started at an MPU meeting. So I totally encourage you to attend that. That's, as I mentioned, how I began in this role and did a completely career change by attending one MPU meeting. All right, Election Day is November 2nd, 2021. And November 4th is our last Center Hill meeting of the year. All right.
I have a question as a new member to the community. Is there any are we doing anything with the community to help renters become owners and to help build their wealth, especially with Microsoft coming in? Is there any community engagement about home ownership programs? Because a lot of people don't know that you can get 100% financing depending on where you live. Is there any programs, or is anyone doing anything about that to help keep people that have been living in these communities renting, making them have setting them up to be homeowners?
May I ask to speak to that, Rolanda? Okay, Miss Joan Vernon is working with the community with the Microsoft project.
Okay.
And this is one of the areas that we discussed, that we wanted to make sure that our homeowners or renters knew, the community members knew about the opportunities of owning a home rather than having to rent a home. So that's one of the priorities that we have spoken with her about.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Miss Addie.
Certainly. Glad to have you, Tiffany.
Yep, thank you.
Another way as well, we have different committees. One of them is the Beautification Committee. And we're all are pretty much volunteers doing that. But what could be done during the Education Committee is everyone is presenting things. We can do that at the neighborhood level too. I know there's tons of resources. One being Invest Atlanta, and we can present the material or invite them to come to present material, and that could be we could be a tool too to get the people as well. So if you know someone, this is pretty much how we pretty much do it. Just kind of meet with the executive committee, and we talk about it basically, and then we present it to the neighborhood, and that's basically how it goes. So, yeah. So if that's something you're interested in doing, maybe starting with one and informing everyone of some things that you may be familiar with, that would be great. That would be great.
Okay, I may have some contact information regarding that.
Yeah, that can go on the list that Tamarin began, the important contact list that's been developed and created and being presented on the website. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Well, whoa, it's 7:58. We usually are done at 7:30. So this has been a very fruitful evening, and we have shared a lot of information. So we can officially end the meeting if anyone doesn't have any other comments or concerns, and feel free to stay and we can talk. Aaron, you were had the idea about the Halloween. Anything came of that, or any more discussion about that?
Sorry, my phone and laptop are dying on me. I will share that template on our Facebook page and share it. I mean, we could get it out on our group listserv, but essentially, you're booing someone. The text at the top of the page says you've been booed, boozed, sorry, rather. So the idea behind it is, if you know of a friend or neighbor in the community and want to treat them to an adult beverage for Halloween instead of candy, then you can simply leave it at their door with a note that lets them know that they've been boozed, and they then in turn need to booze somebody else. So obviously we would not do this with neighbors that we don't know or of legal drinking age, or if they are not, if that's not something that is of interest to them, because everyone has their different preferences. So for those that might want to get involved and do that, and simply, sharing some adult treats during the Halloween time, then that's one opportunity. As well as let us know if you would like or would be willing to entertain trick-or-treaters. There are already some mapping services that will allow you to plug in and let neighbors know that you'll have candy day of. So if you would like for the little neighbors to visit you around Halloween time, then let us know so we can include you and bring some visitors to you.
Now, with the "you've been boozed," is it supposed to remain anonymous, or later it just stays anonymous? You never know who dropped the booze off?
No, it's not anonymous. It's more so like you don't know when it's coming. So you might just happen to get a ring notification that someone's left something at your door, but you'd have a note that's saying you gotten boozed.
Yeah, and you gotta hurry up and get it before the before the
Yes. Yep. And then return the favor. So just an idea.
Okay. All right, well, we're looking forward to that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Any other message boards or anything like that? Conversations? Because our meeting is over.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want, yeah.